Previously on Football versus Philosophy.
It's a very good question. I'm not sure they can ever be relevant.
And it's down to human error.
It might have happened before, but not in the same game, so infinitely you can make anything happen.
This is going to be a tricky one, isn't it?
Part 2 sees them take on Infinity. Hello and welcome to Football versus Philosophy, the show that pits 5 footballers against some of the greatest minds of all time. Each footballer has to answer 5 football-themed philosophical questions, but there's a catch. They only have 1 minute to answer each one. Their answers will be marked by philosophy expert Gary Farnell, who will give them 0 points, 1 point or 3 points for each one, forming the Football versus Philosophy League table. So let's take a look at who's taken part.
I don't know why they don't just make the penalty spot the size of the whole pitch.
Yeah, but Plato would argue about anything.
Nobody touches him, he goes down. He even fell in his bath the other day as well, and he, got booked for diving.
Can we do that again? It's gone. Quite confused. Not my normal question that I'd normally receive.
Who will be more dappy than Nietzsche, more Joey Essex than Plato? It's time to find out in Football versus Philosophy. After round 1, Matt Letizia has established an early lead, and Nigel Spackman and Francis Benali are yet to gain any points. Can they catch up? Just wait and see. David Hume suggests that human beings cannot possibly perceive infinity. So with that in mind, if you cut a penalty spot in half, would you be able to keep cutting each segment in half forever? Or would you finally reach the point where you stop cutting and discover the actual penalty spot? I'll be honest, I'm already bored of cutting. Let's let Gary Farnell talk us through what he expects to see from the answers.
It's interesting, if you keep cutting it in half, as we saw on the screen there, it eventually grows larger than a football pitch, doesn't it? Yeah. What a remarkable thought.
I'm pretty certain that if you keep halving everything, you'll never get down to nothing. Because it's impossible to do that, because there's always something, there's an infinite amount of numbers, and I'm pretty certain that you're still going to get a little portion left over. Half of something really little is going to be something really little as well, and it goes on and on and on.
So the penalty spot's really nothing more than a concept in our imaginations?
It could be portrayed as that way, yeah. And I don't know why they don't just make the penalty spot the size of the whole pitch.
I think it might have been in the course of that 2-part answer, you were putting to him a thought that was potentially really rather mind-blowing, and maybe you were hoping to see his head explode, but Letizia can handle it. I was again impressed by how unfazed he is by potentially, again, large and complex concepts. Another 3 points.
Another 3 points, he's doing alright so far.
I think the penalty spot is an area. So I mean, if you wanted to cut it out, then you could keep going and right away down. I mean, when does it end? I mean, it's a recurring fraction, if you like. So I would say that the penalty spot can be as big or as small as the original circumference, if you like.
So would you say the penalty spot doesn't exist? It's just a theory?
Yeah, I would say it doesn't exist. I'd say it's just some marking.
Maybe Watson was playing for only half of the game in that particular way, that he was formulating a response to the point that you put to.
So would that be 1 point?
That would be 1 point, yes, you're right.
But if you cut it too many times, you're going to get the ball on the spot, because nobody will know where to put it. But if you take that logic, then anything can be halved and halved, or quartered and quartered, and all the way down until you get the smallest spot and just keep it going. But in football terms, you have to have a penalty spot and you have to be able to see it. So you need to put the ball on it, and then we'll miss anyway.
So in football terms, you don't cut it up? Or?
No, because sometimes the man has to come on and make the penalty spot, doesn't he? So there you go.
As a philosopher, he's a realist, isn't he? That was why he kind of shaped his response in terms of that idea that actually somebody comes onto the pitch, puts some white paint down on the green grass, so you really do have a penalty spot. and it's hard to argue against that kind of hard-headed empiricism. I think he may well get a point for that.
Well, I think if you keep on cutting in half and half and half and half and keep on doing it, I think the penalty spot will disappear on it. I don't think there'll be anything to cut, so that's my answer.
Okay.
I think, given that there was that greater degree of development in the Tizier and in Watson, and they were getting points for it, I think one might be a bit hard pressed to give anything to that particular answer. Although it was going along the right lines, it didn't travel very far.
I think, well, I suppose as humans it's only physically possible to see something once it's halved that many times, so I suppose there does come a point where you do actually find the actual penalty spot, I would have thought.
So it's not just paint on the floor, there is actually a spot there somewhere.
Well, it starts off as a spot, but if you did keep halving it, then yeah, I suppose you would actually end up with a spot of some size. Yeah.
Philosophically, he sounds a bit like a skeptic. You know, he wanted to call the very premise of your question into doubt. Maybe he did do enough to get just a point for the latter part of what he was saying to you there.
That's round 2 done and dusted, and Max Le Tizier's lead now stands at 4 points. He's going to take some reeling in, so move on to part 3, where we explore Zeno's paradox.